Hey guys, the number of liver disease and liver transplant is increasing due to obesity. And I'll show you what you can do to cleanse and strengthen your liver. And especially if you actually drink alcohol, this is helpful for you. If you use drugs, whichever kind is also good for you, this is also good for you. If you drink sodas or use vinegar, the they can damage your liver. So this is the reason why this stream is important for today, because when the liver becomes damaged, it becomes very hard, and which is a process called cirrhosis. And today we're gonna talk about basically the issue that is happening. Because why is this important? Because liver transplant is an expensive procedure. Not only that, the amount of donors, people who has liver and they want to donate it to probably to someone else or basically to the donor bank, and the amount of people who actually need liver transplant is also high worldwide. And this problem is becoming even more increasing, because nowadays in this life more people are actually becoming more obese, and also for the problems that the situation that I've also mentioned here. So we're gonna look at an article that's making this statement here, that basically the amount of liver transplant is increasing due to obesity. And of course we're gonna dive into other factors that are causing the liver, which is one of the biggest organ in the body and the most toxic organ in the body, and you'll know why in a moment. We'll talk about it, and most importantly what you can do to actually cleanse your liver, so and also help your liver to strengthen. And you will find something very, very interesting about the liver, that is like one of the things that only the liver can do. So let's dive right in. Let's get into the show. And let's first go to this article. This is basically a recent article here, and it reads as, let me just make it a bit bigger for the sake of reading. This is just this Monday, and it goes like, the number of people who need liver transplant due to obesity has tripled in the past 7 years. In 2017, it was just a few patients per year. Last year, it was 50. You might think that this amount is not really much compared to the amount of people who are actually alive, but soon you'll realize this is something that can be happening to you and you don't even know it's happening. And basically you will also learn or know the importance of the liver. And so we are here according to, okay, we can do it like this. According to figures from the Erasmus MC, the hospital in Rotterdam that has the largest liver center in the Netherlands, people often think of unpleasant consequences such as heart attack and diabetes. They think when they think of being obese or overweight. Yeah, say physician Harry Janssen of the Erasmus MC. But fatty liver disease can ultimately lead to the need for a transplant. So basically, you need to get a new liver. This is worrying. Also believe. This is worrying. Also believe director of the MDL found Marielle Kroon, a liver transplant is the last resort. It is very drastic for the patients and not always possible. The waiting list for liver from a donor is long. So I already mentioned this. Not many people are able to basically donate a liver, because in order for you to classify or to be okay to donate an organ, you need to have a healthy organ in the first place to donate. And at the same time, there needs to be a match, a fit. So let's see. Okay, often without knowing. All right, so first let's see how a liver transplant look like. So normally when somebody has a liver transplant, and according to this article also, it says it can be very drastic for the patients because this is a very drastic situation. It's gonna cause the body to develop some form of PTSD because this is very traumatic for the body. But this is actually how it looks like when someone has undergo of a liver transplant and they need to take it out. Probably by now there's a different procedure, but you can see there's a huge cut because the liver is in the right side and is a very big organ at the same time. And this is how it looks like. Let's see. Okay, let me just go on these pictures. You can see it's not a good look for no one actually. And yeah, so you can see basically how the aftermath of a liver surgery, if a person actually get the chance to find a liver, first of all, because like I said, to find a liver is the first thing because it's very expensive and there's a very low amount of people or a very low amount of liver available, and there's a long waiting list, and definitely it's actually not a good thing because people can be, having such issues of the liver and they need a liver transplant momentarily, as ASAP, as soon as possible. So they cannot get it. So now let's go even further. And this article, it says, often without knowing it, according to the funds, some 4 million Dutch people have fatty liver disease, often without knowing it. And 4% of all Dutch people, there is active liver inflammation due to fatty liver disease. It is estimated that this concern around 700 people, but it can be even more than that because there are also people who doesn't register, who doesn't know, because you can have it without knowing it. And not only that you without knowing it, but it's also there are some people who doesn't even go for the checkup to know, okay, how are their livers, actually, if their liver has a cirrhosis. And let's see what is a liver cirrhosis. It's basically when the liver this is a process when the liver become hard. There's so much scar in it, it becomes hard after healing over time. And so this is why this happened, liver cirrhosis. Now, let's look at a healthy liver. As you can see, here is a healthy liver, basically as a baby or a young person who doesn't have or doesn't use synthetic chemicals, doesn't drink a soda, doesn't use any form of issues that can damage the liver. But also, what is very important to know as well is that a person can be born with liver disease or liver issue. So now let's look at this one, for example. A healthy liver here, it goes to fatty liver, it goes to liver fibrosis and cirrhosis. This is the very last, one of the very last process of the liver breaking down. And you can see here again, but basically it's just, the liver changing. Yeah, I think maybe this might be clearer. Healthy liver, fibrosis, cirrhosis, carcinoma. So the liver is basically very being damaged in a very big way. So as we talk about already, is that all drugs, synthetic chemicals, pollutions of all kinds, and toxins go directly to the liver and decrease its function. This is the reason why also, because the liver is in charge of producing a lot of different toxins, or just removing a lot of different toxins from the body. So it could be drugs. It doesn't have to be, it's not only limited to, drugs like, yeah, like cocaine, for example, or hard or soft drugs, but it's also from medication, for example, and that could also damage and weaken the liver. And what happens is when the liver gets weak, enlarged, inflamed, or the process called cirrhosis, the spleen and kidney also become weak. That's a very delicate situation. So now back to the article right here. So liver inflammation leads to a great increased risk of liver cirrhosis, a disease in which the liver is so damaged that it can no longer recover. And liver cancer at the risk of needing a liver transplant. Alcohol consumption increases this risk even further. But not only that, there are other circumstances, there's other reasons why. Also, I'll show you guys the other reasons that actually break down the liver as well. So it's not only alcohol or drugs or soda or pollutions of all kinds or hormones from different foods or different areas, hormones from what we consume, but also other factors we're gonna actually discover. But before we go deeper into this, the other factors, but here's a good news. Fortunately, there is good news, say Krun. You can do a lot to turn the tide as long as you catch it on time. The liver can repair itself to a certain extent. This is basically a specific organ that can take care of itself. What do they mean by this? What do they mean by this exactly? I don't know if you guys are very familiar with this, but let's say for example Wolverine. Where's Wolverine? Or Superman, or the latest superhero, I would say, let's say Deadpool, for example. One thing they do have in common, they have a healing factor. So basically, the Hulk, all these superheroes here, they have a healing factor. And I'm sure you guys know what that is about. So if you don't know what a healing factor is all about, it's basically these superheroes, whenever they get injured or cut or whatever, their body can heal itself automatically. And we've seen this if you watch Deadpool or Wolverine, for example. You can see this, that they have this superpower. They can be hurt so many times, and they can get shot, they can get stabbed, they can get chopped, or for whichever reason, their own body can heal itself, and the liver can do the same thing. It's really an amazing thing. But the liver, it has its maximum capacity, of course, meaning it has its limit. It can basically heal itself to a certain point. It could be around 70 to 75% to basically to original state. Basically to get to 100% would be the ideal, a healthy liver. So 70% the liver can heal itself, but it needs a certain condition for it to do that. Because let's say if the liver, if for example I'm constantly engaging in activities that are damaging the liver without doing anything to give it the fuel, or even minimize the things that I'm doing to minimize my liver from getting even more damage. And we all know that all toxins, all pollution all the negative or the bad things goes to the liver, and basically to keep the body cleaned. So what happened now, we're gonna uncover more in depth what basically dive deeper to uncover the damaged liver and what are the signs and symptoms of a liver damage, how to notice it, how to notice that your liver is being damaged, so you can actually know what to look out for. Because this is very important, because it can getting damaged over time. You don't even know it, because again, it is said that your liver can be damaged and you don't even have no signs of it. But if you do not have no signs of it, or if you don't even know what to look out for, basically it's actually, it can be walking around with a problem or an issue, a health challenge with your liver, and you don't even know. So now let's get active. Let's get actually more understanding of this. So symptom and sign of liver damage or disease. A few things can cause damage to your liver, including hepatitis B and C. But hepatitis B and C is not only limited to hepatitis B and C. If your liver, you see, if you have liver damage or liver disease, you might have no signs or symptoms. This is even scary because it will be helpful to know what the issue is so we can probably properly address it. If you have symptoms, they might include mild pain on the right side of the body, feeling tired, brain fog, swollen abdomen, yellowing of the eyes, of the skin or eyes, weight loss, or loss of appetite. Liver fibrosis is when there is a scar tissue on your liver. And cirrhosis happens when lots of scar tissue build up over time. If you have any of the symptoms listed below, seek urgent medical help. I would say seek urgent medical help definitely if you actually, realize you have these signs that we're gonna talk about here first. But first, let's get down to hepatitis B and C. So first, to understand hepatitis, let's look at where the liver is located. The liver is located in the right side of the body. Like I said, yeah, as you can see, let me see here. This is where it's at. This is the right side of the body, and the liver is let's say just behind the abdominal rib cage here. And let's see, maybe this one here. Okay, just for you to have a clear picture. Okay, maybe this might help where the liver is located. Yeah, here's the liver. All right. So we were talking about hepatitis B and C, and I said it's not only limited, the liver is not only damaged by hepatitis B and C. There are other factors, other hepatitis. There are more than just B and C. So now we have identified where the liver is located. Yeah. So what are the function anyway? What are the function? Why is this important? Why is this organ important? We've talked about it, but let's even go deeper into why the liver is very important in your life, or basically to have a healthy liver. And further later, we're gonna talk about the things that you can do, helpful tips that can help you to basically keep your liver healthy or help it in the regeneration process. So the liver secretes digestive fluid, and these fluids are used to break down carbohydrates and protein. Also, the liver stores at least 6 hours supply of reserve energy of natural sugar, glycogen, in case of emergency. So the liver stores energy in case of emergency situation that your body is going through. And the liver secretes more yellow bile in order to dissolve toxin impurities in the body. Now, let's go into hepatitis. So, as I said, they are different from A to E. These are various hepatitis issues. So now, let's look at the first one. Now, hepatitis A is generally a less serious form of hepatitis that mainly occur in children. Hepatitis really attack the liver. And hepatitis B, so A, basically, as you can see here, his eyes, this is Jandice's eyes. Basically, the eyes is the body, the liver is not removing the impurities from the body enough. And also, this is a sign that the liver is becoming problematic. And it says less serious, but let's say it's just step one. Is one of the steps that is not so serious to that the liver is malfunctioning, but it is a sign. You can see the eyes are really yellow. And it's not just the regular yellow as if people are, when people use drugs, but it's just a very internal yellowish color that is very connected to the liver. So hepatitis B, which also we talk about here, it says hepatitis B and C, but we started first with A and we're going down to the list to E. Hepatitis B is transmitted from mother to child at birth from sexual contact or contact with blood. Okay, through sexual contact. So let me see what more explanation this has. Okay, let's see. Sexual contact. Okay, so this is the hepatitis that you can actually have that comes from your mother or your parent, well, from mother to child, and basically through sexual contact or contact with blood. And this is something that this type of hepatitis, you can have it through sexual contact and contact with blood. So it could be from the father of the child, or that's how it can actually happen. But now hepatitis B, so we dive more deeper into hepatitis B risk group, people who are highly risking their lives that could interact or catch hepatitis B. And like I said, from the hepatitis B, you can also get this from your partner, from your loved one. So the person that you actually engage in having intimacy with, you can get hepatitis B from. So now moving more in depth with that one, in the Netherlands, hepatitis B mainly occur in men who have sex with men and sex workers. So that's not only limited to sex workers, but again, if somebody has it, somebody that you're dating or you're dealing with has it, that you can actually get it from them. So that's actually something useful to know. And it's not only from men to men sex, but it's just also normal. Let's move further. So hepatitis C is a virus mainly transmitted through contaminated blood. So that's one you can mostly, seems like, from blood transfusion that you can get it, or if somebody get a cut and you happen to touch that person and you get in contact with their blood, and their blood actually enters into your body. That's how you can get the C. Hepatitis D. People can only become affected with hepatitis D virus if they are also carrying hepatitis B virus at the same time. So this one and that C, B, you basically can come together. And now let's go to hepatitis E. Can occur and meat. You can basically get it from meat and feces of games, for example, deer or wild boar. So basically you can get it from meat and feces of deer and wild boar. And yes, so basically these are the different types of hepatitis from A to E. But now we're gonna focus to the more problematic one. So we have already said that the B can be from your mother or your parents, rather, and also there's a more sexual sex interaction can also cause hepatitis B. And that's when the person is carrying it. So we've looked at all these forms, but now we need to understand the sign and the symptoms, right? Because this is very important to know the signs, because how are you gonna determine if you actually have it? And regardless if you don't have it, just in a moment from now, I'm gonna talk about some tips for cleansing and strengthening the liver. What you can do to strengthen the liver. It's very easy. It's nothing complicated, and perhaps you don't really have to. Well, yeah, I was gonna say you don't have to spend money, but I mean, how are you gonna live without spending money? Because it's gonna basically include groceries, things you can actually normally use. For example, one food that you can use, for example, is apple. To get it, you need to go to the grocery store. But now, liver damage and disease symptom by stage. This information is not medical advice. That's for you to know also, from me to you. If you have symptoms, talk to your doctor. So probably this can help you to identify if you have symptoms, and the logical step, if you do have symptoms, is to go to talk to your doctor, of course. People showing signs of liver problems may experience symptoms based upon the stage of their condition. Symptoms include mild pain on the right side of the torso. We already identified that the liver is located on the right side of the body, and we don't need to, yeah, this is the right side. The right side here again, it's not really clear. Let's see. Yeah, you can see right side of the body. And now, so if you have mild pain on the right side of your body, and basically it's not just pain that, just happen once and don't come back again. It's an agonizing pain that just keep coming back and going. That's something to look out for. Feeling tired. And you need to identify if you're feeling tired because you don't get enough sleep, or you have too much trouble in your mind, or something, stress, something that's, causing you to not, or causing you to not have enough sleep, get enough rest. Brain fog, swollen abdomen. Of course, this one is connected to that one. Yeah. And yellowing of the skin or eyes. We already identified this stage right here. Yellowing is, yeah, it's really your eyes will really become yellow. And let's go further. Weight loss or loss of appetite. So let's move to this. Liver damage. Liver cells can become inflamed and damaged in a lot of ways. We already identified these ways: the hepatitis, the different variations of hepatitis, the different food or behaviors, things that we ingest. But not only that, also the pollution from the environment also break down the liver. Okay, the main causes are hepatitis viruses passed from person to person. So the hepatitis here that we actually have identified: B, C, and D. Yeah, so you get these ones. And of course, A, let's say A to D. This one, E, you mainly get it from meat and animals. So now, and what we eat and drink, alcohol, and some herbal medicine. But also some, I wouldn't say some, but let me put it like this. Let me just say some drugs, let's say, drugs that we take. It could be medicine, drugs in form of medicines, and that's what I mean. Because they call them medication, but all of the time they call it a new drug that is coming out, that is happening, that is from new research. Drugs also goes to the liver. And fatty food, we all know what that is. And whether we are overweight or have diabetes or autoimmune disease, we are here. Okay, over time, inflammation can cause liver cells to become damaged, called liver fibrosis. We already identified that. Let me see here. Okay, liver fibrosis, a healthy liver, fibrosis, and then there are 4 stages of it. Well, not of fibrosis, but let's see 3 stages of the liver breaking down, as we can see here. Yeah, and other serious liver problems. Okay, now let's first understand what is liver fibrosis. Cells that are inflamed, die, are replaced by scar tissue called fibrosis. Yeah, they aren't usually any symptom of fibrosis. You might have symptoms of whatever is causing your fibroids through, let's see, what causes liver through. For more information, okay, wait, I just got lost in here. But the main thing about fibrosis is one of the process of the liver breaking down. Yeah, And cirrhosis is another process also when scar tissue fibrosis build up too much over time. So basically is, again, we have identified that the liver gets damages, and when the liver become damaged over time, it's just constantly, it has a healing factor that's constantly healing itself, just like Wolverine, for example. Yeah. So when it's healing itself, but at the same time, you can imagine it's scar on top of scar on top of scar on top of scar. So now when this happen, so many scars, it's called cirrhosis. Yeah, when scar is built up too much over time. Cirrhosis increase the risk of liver failure and may require liver transplant. So this is the stage and greatly increase the risk of liver cancer. So this is the stage when the liver need to be replaced. And yes, cirrhosis. So the liver need to replace about here. And let's move further. Okay, so now this says there are two stages of liver cirrhosis, and they have compensated and decompensated. Compensated cirrhosis has mild or no symptoms. At this point, some of your liver still work well enough to compensate, make up for the part of the liver that have scarring. Remember, the liver sclerosis is when there's so much scars in the liver after cuts, after damage, after damage, after damage. It just cuts on top of cuts. The liver tries to heal itself, but it's healing from a cut. You know, when you have a cut at the same spot, it's become less likely to heal over time. And compensated cirrhosis is very serious and need urgent care. If liver damage gets worse, you will get the next stage of liver damage called decompensated cirrhosis. This is advanced liver cirrhosis and is dangerous. By now, you may be feeling tired, poor appetite, and losing weight. Okay, so this is the things to look out for. And remember, this is the last stage, cirrhosis. This is the last stage of the liver being damaged. And now we already talked about the hepatitis, liver health, and hepatitis B. Hepatitis B, again, remember that hepatitis B is something that you can get from your parents, from your mother mainly, and also through sexual interaction. Yeah, so now, okay, let's see. Hepatitis B is manageable liver infection caused by the hepatitis B virus, HBV. There is a vaccination for hepatitis B. It is most common liver infection in the world. So a lot of people have this disease because, as you can imagine, a lot of people are having sex, usually passed on from mother to baby during birth or through exposure to the blood of someone with hepatitis B. Usually cause, okay, all right. I think we have covered this. Is actually going over it again. I really don't want to make this live stream super long. I just want to tap into it, and I want to also give you guys the helpful tips that can help you to give your liver what it needs to heal. And liver damage and disease symptoms, we already talk about the jaundice, which is here, yellowing of the eyes and of the skin, but the eyes can really tell it even more. You can see it could be hard for you to determine that your skin is yellow, but your eyes, I think, is actually a hard thing to miss. And bleeding varices. Yeah, so we didn't talk about that. Okay, bleeding varices is bleeding that happens in your esophagus or food pipe. Yeah, here. And yeah, food pipe or stomach. If your liver is very scarred. So remember, your liver have a healing factor, but over time, as it heals itself, it becomes scarred and it builds it builds scar on top of scar. A buildup of pressure from the liver makes the blood vessel swell and burst. Bleeding, varices, okay, varices is very serious and may be life-threatening. The symptoms of bleeding varices are vomiting blood or having black, tarry, sticky stool. So if you realize you take a number 2, you go to the toilet, you take a number 2, and you realize that you're having black, tarry, and sticky stool, pool, then you really need to actually go to the doctor and have yourself checked out for liver complications. Yep. So now moving on to ascites. Ascites is a buildup of fluid in your abdomen, stomach area. So we already talk about these things here. Swollen abdomen, yeah, swollen in your abs area. Okay, let's see here. It is due to high pressure in the liver. Your abdomen will become very large. It is uncomfortable to eat because you will always feel full. So this is where you also lose weight. And breathing may become hard, especially when you are lying down. Let's see. Some patients who have ascites might have malnutrition when your body doesn't get all the nutrients that it needs because you feel full. Of course, you're not gonna get all the nutrients if you're not eating. The ascites fluid become infected, and this is very serious. All right, if you're experiencing this, really talk to your doctor about this. Get some tests done, because again, not only that your liver can actually heal itself, but over time it cannot do it anymore. Yeah. And the fourth phase, encephalopathy. Okay, encephalopathy is due to build-up of toxin in your brain. When the liver can filter toxin, the toxins stay in your blood and are carried to the brain. We don't want that. Symptoms of early encephalopathy are change in mood, concentration, memory, and sleep pattern, as well as flapping hands. What are flapping hands? Interesting. All right, let's take a quick look at this. We're gonna do it live. Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I know. I have. Yeah, I'm familiar with it now. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Hand flapping is seen as a way to escape the overstimulated sensory input presence in the environment. So basically, kids do it. So I can imagine it's like this, for example. And why do people with autism STEM? So a lot of people with autism. Let's take a look at this article right here quickly. We're not gonna go too deep in this. We just wanna. I think by now it should be evident what is absent. What do you call stemming or flapping? Well, basically it's just flapping the hands. All right, so we were here. You may also have problem with handwriting. I can imagine, because if your hand is basically flapping without your control, definitely it's gonna be hard for you to hold a pen and to write. And doing math, because because memory and concentration has decreased. Doing math and crankiness. So talk to us, or talk to people. Basically, talk to your doctor if you are experiencing these issues. Now, on to the last point. The last thing I want to talk about with you guys is what are some tips to cleanse this and strengthen the liver. The first thing you want to do is get some raw liver glandula. So what does that look like? Let me get the link here. Okay. What does that look like? All right. So basically it's raw liver. Yeah. So let me do this. This is not a promotion anyway. You shouldn't get this. You don't have to get it. This is just for the sake of this presentation, for the sake of this live stream, so you can see what I mean. Basically is raw liver supplements, and this is good for the liver. Basically, it helps to cleanse and strengthen the liver. That's the first tips, or the first thing that you could use for a healthier liver. Yeah. So now going down the list, I already mentioned the food. So the food list is, I already mentioned apple, there's artichoke, there's red beets, there's cucumber. A lot of different, basically natural foods will help to cleanse with the liver cleansing process. And herbs that you can use. Although they say there are some herbs that can damage the liver, but these are not it. It's a very complicated herb. Actually, the name start with a C. It's a very complicated herb actually to get also, and it's not among this list. And the list goes, the herbs you can use is ginger root, alfalfa, barberry root, and the commonly something that you can use daily is parsley. And this actually is it. And of course, you want to minimize the amount of pollution that enters your home or that you actually encounter. And also you want to drink less, because alcohol is one of the things that damages the liver, and any drugs damage the liver. It doesn't matter if you're taking prescription drugs, it damages the liver. Drinking soda does that too, and use of vinegar and a lot of different high sugar fatty food, hormones, some hormones that we get from the food. You can imagine, let's say chicken, you eat chicken, and the farming process of chicken, or the grazing process of chicken, or of beef, for example, is, they have to use a lot of different hormones to help the animal to survive or to fight off any illnesses that it might face during its lifetime. So a lot of these things that can damage the liver, and I've said a lot of these things that can heal and help the liver to function even much more better. This information, again, is not medical advice. If you have any of the symptoms that I've talked about, that I've mentioned to you guys, please talk to your doctor. And the bottom line is, we've talked about the negative circumstances that cause liver issues and the signs and symptoms to look out for. Although sometimes there can be no signs of liver issues, but in a positive light, the liver regenerates and heals itself, and it needs the right fuel, nutrients per se, to heal itself. But sometimes it needs our own help by not engaging in certain activities that's gonna basically damage it. And being obesity, of course, is a topic here. One of the topic is that, control your weight. Do something about that, because you can definitely do something about it. Don't wait until it's too late. And it puts you in a higher risk of your liver becoming damaged. And we all see this is actually something that is rising here in the Netherlands, and it's becoming very problematic. It's constantly rising. So this is not something that we all want to happen to us, because again, you might not know that you have it, but it's constantly damaging your body. And again, when the liver is damaged, it's also what happened is the kidney and the spleen and the kidney become weaker. So that's something also we don't want. And basically, we have talked about some tips that may help you to have a healthier liver. Whether you have a healthier liver or not, making lifestyle adjustment is definitely a win-win. So by applying some of these tips can definitely help you out. And please subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.